Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Biroy, your personal growth and business coach, and I have just one mission to help you do what you love and make your dream business flourish. Today, my heart is singing because Camie is here with me. She's professional and therapeutic harpist, certified clinical musician, holistic research developer, speaker, recording artist, composer, author, and co-initiator of the origin methodology of self-discovery. She has presented hundreds of seminars for local, regional, and national audiences on the power of music, resonance, and conscious self-care. For the past 20 years, she has been active in the sound healing community with several pilot studies indicating how her solo harp music increases brainwave function, supports the immune system, and reduces pain, distress, and anxiety levels. Amy's inspired music relaxes the body, believe me, I know that, calms the mind, and gently touches the soul. As one woman said, you touch others in such a deep place with your music because it comes from such a deep place inside of you. Thank you so much for being my guest. I actually have goosebumps when I was reading this, because your music is not just music. It's like angels music, and I'm following you several years now. We met, I believe, in the wellness universe, and you truly are an earth angel. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. And I just love what you're doing and creating and contributing to the world. There's a lot of us earth angels here.
Thanks. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, how you started with music and healing.
Well, I've been playing harp for 45 years. I actually started when I was 10 years old. I'm classically trained. I went to Indiana University and actually changed my major because I studied with the teachers there because I wanted the training, but I didn't want to be a teacher because honestly, I had such respect for teachers. Both of my parents were teachers, and I didn't want to screw anybody up. is the honest truth. It's like, what am I doing? So I graduated with a degree in telecommunications and then came home. A friend was going through hospice care, and I didn't even know what hospice was at the time. This was in 1987, but something inside of me just said, sit down and record something for her. So I was gigging at the time. I recorded a cassette tape. One side had classical music. One side had popular, more familiar music. She listened to it during her visualizations, and I was told that her body literally relaxed when she was listening to the music. And that was the first time I had ever connected the link between music and healing. But something lit up inside of me. There was like this spark. I didn't know where it came from. I just had to listen. You know all about this, that little spark. And so I had to do something, but I wasn't trained. So I found a music therapist. We developed a 2-part questionnaire, listened to the cassette before, listened to it after. Results indicated everyone perceived they were more relaxed after they listened to the music. So we were already addressing this idea that you had to like the music for it to be effective. And that was back in 1987. But I was getting married, didn't know what to do with that information. And 7 years later, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He's a musician. I knew that musicians listen to music differently than non-musicians because they tend to analyze it and figure it out. It keeps their brain active. So I had to find music that he didn't know. So I found some new age piano solos, and I'm a pianist as well. So I recorded them on harp. And then to help him relax and heal. And this is the key thing. My intention when I recorded that CD was to help him relax and heal after surgery, okay? So I had a specific intention with that music. People were giving us all sorts of feedback after listening to it, because when we released it, we didn't really know what to do with all that information again. There was a series of divine interventions and circumstances. My husband met a neurotherapist here in St. Louis. He offered to do our first quantitative EEG brainwave study using that CD.
Oh.
And it indicated that it induced a state of relaxation in 4 minutes by decreasing the beta, the active brainwaves, and increasing the alpha frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really surprised because he had never seen one piece of music do that. And again, this is really in the early 90s at this point. And he said, well, if we can impact the brain this quickly, maybe we can impact the immune system. So we were already on that journey of the psychoneuroimmunology field. And again, I'm not trained. I'm just following the doors as they open and trusting that I have no idea how, but I knew that I had to take the steps. So we actually designed a full clinical trial back in the early 90s. And then I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and everything got put on hold. But what makes that journey interesting is from the time we met Dr. William Collins and did the first pilot study. That was with a piece of music called New Love, Awaken to Yourself. Then I started this deep inner spiritual journey because I was classically trained and I'm attached to the paper. Don't take my paper away because I don't know how to improvise. I don't trust myself enough I believed that I didn't know enough theory to write my own music. Again, that was all head stuff. And I had to drop into my heart. Again, you know all about this. And so I was going through all my fears, all my past beliefs, all of the layers of experiences that led to me believing that I couldn't express the music that wanted to move through me. And during this time, my husband, who's also such a spiritual mentor, he shared with me some ancient healing chants. And his voice became this highway. And it woke up something inside of me. And I started to hear the music. And this music played me from the inside, and it wouldn't stop. When I was doing dishes, when I was driving, I just kept hearing these melodies. So the only way that I could get this music out of me was to go into the studio and record it. And the recording from that session is the Magic Mirror CD. So that CD was expressed without any intention, any personal intention, other than getting it out of me. And here's my passion. Because from the very beginning of all this, the question that kept ringing in my ears was like, what is the intention? What is the inspiration that inspires that expression? Because with the first CD that I recorded for my dad, I didn't write that music. I had no idea what the composer's intention was that inspired that music. I could interpret it and I could record it. And my intention was to help my dad relax and heal after surgery. And that's what we were showing with our brainwave pilot study. It was relaxing and calming the brain. So it was like my intention was being measured through this pilot study research. Well, with the Magic Mirror, I had no intention. So I wanted to find out, how would that translate? And so we did another pilot study with cancer patients going through chemotherapy. They listened to the Magic Mirror. They had quantitative EEG. We gave them the CD. They listened to it for 10 days, once a day for 10 days, came back and had quantitative EEG done again. That pilot study indicated that every neurological imbalance tended to normalize. Wow. It's not that we just increased the alpha frequency in everybody. They got exactly what they needed. If they had high betas, it lowered. If they had low alphas, it raised. I mean, everyone was individual. It was like they were getting individualized music through one piece of music. And so for the last 20 years, I was like, why? Why is this happening? And so I had to design a way to describe it. And that's how the presentations for vibrational awareness and the healing power of music came through. And my passion for talking about resonance, because it describes what I believe is happening through the music, but it also describes what I believe is happening through every expression. not just music.
Amy, I was listening and I'm listening your music very often. And this is one of the reasons I wanted you to come on my show, because I want to show people. As I said, you're an angel on earth. So me, I am not a musician. I was a programmer. I'm now deeply in business and personal growth. I can only say that when I was listening your melodies, my heart was beating with every beat that you were producing. And I was going through some difficult times back then. I was diagnosed with infertility, and we did 2 in vitro fertilizations unsuccessfully, and I was under a lot of stress. And all I did was listening you, really. and yes, and yeah, I felt much more in peace. I felt much more calm. I felt much more in my own power, believing that I can be a mom. And I am a mom of a 4-year-old boy. So
Like, I
if
didn't
there
bring
is
my tissues. Oh my
if
God,
there
this
is
is
anything that I can say, is that I was one of those people who was listening to you. Now I have goosebumps. I never
oh,
said this in public, and I never
oh,
told this to you. I actually invited you a few years ago to be part of my journey when I was building Live from Your Heart and Mind, because I wanted your music to be included in the app. I will build that app one day, and I want you to be the part of it. But that was because I truly experienced it. And at the end of this show, I would like if you would be so kind to play something for us. Yes,
absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
please. Because I want people to know this. I am very much into mind development, and I'm very impressed with everything that has any kind of connection with neuroscience and all of that. But I had no idea that music can create such a balance, which is actually scientifically proved. And as I said, you are delivering it. Maybe you didn't have an intention, but you definitely are guided to help people with the music. What makes your music different than other musics? I said a little bit, but I would like you to share.
I've been asked that before, and the only way that I can really describe it is the evolution of my understanding of resonance. And so if we back up just a little bit, the bottom line to that is that all music can be healing when we listen consciously. But in order for that to happen, I want to just back up a little bit to give a foundation as to how I see music and how I experience music. So everything is energy and everything has its own frequency. And when 2 objects of the same frequency come into close proximity to each other, they create a resonant system. They begin to sing together. It's like when you put 2 tuning forks together, but it has to be the same frequency, okay, for that sympathetic vibration to happen. So with music, I see it as a highway, and I do this because I kind of see it as a tube. And really I visualize all expressions as this highway that brings that which is within us out into the world. Okay, it could be through our voice, our touch, our cooking, any kind of expression brings that which is within us out into the world. So it all starts from that intention within us. And again, this goes back to that first CD I recorded with my intention being to help my dad relax and heal, which it did. And it helped other people in the same way. That second expression. Okay, so that expression was originated from my heart. That created the highway from my heart. And that's the information riding through the music and sympathetically resonating with other people. As a classical musician, and someone who can appreciate now the theory, the form, the structure, music is created that way as well. And there's a lot of music being created right now, and it's being produced in a very specific way. It's using binaural beats, it's embedding different frequencies, because they understand, the producers of this music understand sympathetic vibration. They put it in the music, it's going to sympathetically resonate within the listener. And for some people that works beautifully. For me personally, I feel that embeddedness. I feel that structure, and I experience it as what we call forced resonance. It's kind of forcing me out of my natural resonant frequency to match an external frequency. But it's effective, for a lot of people. So now we've got the mind expression, we've got the heart expression, and then there is that soul expression where it's coming from, we are just, our little selves are out of the way, and that higher self is just flowing through. That's that soul expression. It's the hollow bone. It's the clear channel. It's the music that rings in musicians' minds and ears and hearts in the middle of the night, and they have to get up and they have to write it because they don't know where it's coming from, and they don't lose it. And that kind of an expression creates a different experience for the listener, because the highway is of a different frequency. And so that is the only way I have found to explain why the magic mirror does what it does, is because the highway was clear, there was no intention, and people are receiving exactly what they need when they listen to it. I mean, I have a lot of CDs, and they don't all elicit the same response in listeners, because they were inspired in different ways.
Differently.
A lot of my music now, I just go into the studio and it comes through. I mean, most of my music now is just sit down and play. And so it is that soul expression. But I have other CDs that I used sheet music for, or that I wanted it to be more fun. And so, it's just a different inspiration. And that's why I feel like all music can be healing when we listen consciously. Because for example, one of my most powerful meditations was with a video game soundtrack, because our kids they listened to heavy metal, they listened to all sorts of, music that I was like resisting when they were in high school. And then I opened myself to listen in a different way. And I learned about the artist. I learned more about the story that they were expressing. And then I allowed myself to feel like, if it felt too too push like this at the beginning, I realized, okay, well, that's just because I don't want to address that within myself. So one morning I just stayed in the driveway after I dropped them off from school, and I kept listening to the music that we were listening to. And I allowed that to get into my body and to shake it up, and the rhythms and the growling, the beats. And it was almost like the visualization of this DNA, and the vibrations from this music were just like shredding it, just clearing it. And it was the most powerful internal massage, meditation, clearing that I had ever experienced with music that I had at one point resisted.
So actually it depends upon us how we are going to receive that. And is there anything more beautiful than being cured by the music? People are trying so many things, but actually this is like you have a spa day for your heart and mind and your soul. This is how I see it.
Absolutely. Well, and then we also have these two words like cure and healed. Because for me, what the music is, it helps us heal if that definition is about balance. Because from a vibrational perspective, if we're out of tune, if we're out of balance someplace within us, we can use music to explore that aspect and embrace it with compassion as the part of the wholeness of who we are. And we don't have to be afraid of it. It's part of us.
So beautiful. I could listen to you for 24 hours straight. How do you share this idea of resonance with others?
Well, for the last 20 years, I've been doing presentations in person, which doesn't happen much now, because I was explaining the idea of our pilot study results, which happened to be with cancer patients. So I was talking to support groups and nurses and social workers and therapists, and introducing this idea of resonance and sympathetic vibration, so they could take that understanding of energy and not only apply it to the music that they might choose to use for themselves, but also how their energy emanates and affects those around them. So in the last few years, I have transformed the content of that presentation into what I call conscious self-care. And that program is available as an online course. I do keynotes and seminars, and it really walks people step by step through the understanding that we are such a culmination of all of our experiences and beliefs, just like this harp. I use music as the example. Like if all of these strings were a different experience or belief or feeling, sometimes we resist these low ones because we're afraid or we're judging ourselves or we carry shame or guilt or whatever it is, because our emotions are energetic. And we hold that in our bodies. So conscious self-care is about compassionately embracing the fullness of who we are through this understanding of resonance and the importance of making intentional choices in every moment. So it kind of takes mindfulness to another level, and recognizing that we are the combination of all of our experiences from the past and all those that we've inherited. We are very full.
Beautiful. And it's actually very brilliant when we think about it. Healthcare specialists, like you mentioned, nurses and the therapists, they are among those people who need healing the most, right? And they need to emit that positive energy all around them, not just directly to the patients, but, I believe in energy. I mean, I've been through so much in my life and I am absolutely, but, I was a geek. I needed to take a study. So I was studying about quantum physics and Nikola Tesla's work until I got it.
Yeah.
But it's the same as you say. How does this actually relate to business?
Well, what I love about the understanding of resonance and sympathetic vibration and forced resonance, which is when you try to force somebody out of their resonant frequency, and entrainment. Entrainment is the rhythmic aspect. So with our 3 rhythmic systems, our brainwaves, our breathing, and our heart rate, we are definitely affected by entrainment in a number of ways. So from a business perspective, we're around people. We're around customers. We're around managers. We're around coworkers.
Yeah.
And because as a musician, I also see life and people as music. So do we want to be like dissonant or do we want to create a little more harmony with them? So
okay.
as we become more conscious within ourselves of the energy that we're bringing into the space, because we bring our whole history into every interaction, and they bring their whole history into every interaction. And if we understand that sympathetic vibration, there's going to be some vibrations that are going to start activating and resonating. And when we can become aware of that and become responsible, I always say conscious self-care expands perceptions, increases personal responsibility, and inspires compassionate change. So that middle step is increasing personal responsibility. If it triggers you, it's in you. If you're feeling something, it's in you. It's a vibrational spark. It's igniting. You can recognize what's happening. Like maybe somebody said something to you, like your mother used to say, or a friend, or so, because whatever drama is happening in the moment usually is never about the drama happening in the moment.
It's usually about the past.
Absolutely, finding its way back into the present. And so understanding resonance and sympathetic vibration, we can make a different choice. We can continue to clash, or we could just exhale a little bit and come into harmony. It's not like we have given in. It's not like, you don't have to be like a bulldog. And in business, if you're making sales calls, your voice is the highway of expression, bringing that which is within you out into the world. So if you had a rough morning, if you're angry, if you're stressed, if you had a fight with your spouse, that energy is moving through your expression, and it will sympathetically resonate with whomever you're talking to. And it won't be a conscious thing. This is subconscious, energetic transference.
This is so brilliant. You know how I see you? Like, you can heal the world. You can develop business. You can do everything with the music and the resonance. But seriously, it is like that. Like everything depends on our healthy human connections, like how we connect with other people. And usually people ask me how you are doing all those things in the same time. I'm not. I'm just connecting with other people, and I'm not going and doing anything alone. So this is exactly what I've knew from a different perspective, like how you show up, things will show up for you that way. But if we can create a balance in our hearts and minds, and I believe, since you mentioned the alpha state of mind and creating balance from neuroscience, basically, um, the music can even affect the mind potential. And the level of intelligence is something that is like a gift, but we have 2% of brain which we don't use, and we can tip into that 2%, and that is how things become extraordinary, and that is how I see you.
Well, it's interesting that you had mentioned that, because I forgot to, in the initial pilot study, we had a questionnaire, and it came back that the participants did feel more relaxed, less stressed, more able to focus.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're stressed, our perception is so tight,
Mm-hmm.
and we get these headaches right here. But as we relax and we open up, we're using different parts of the brain, and you can't think when you're under so much stress.
Exactly.
And there's reasons why.
Yeah. How can people learn more about your music and your course? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, everything is on my website. I will give a little caveat that I built my website myself like years and years ago. So it is
beautiful.
It's very full. It's like everything I'm doing, I put it right there. Eventually I'll break things out.
I like
But
that. Everything is at one spot. So yeah.
It is. And it's easy for me to navigate too. So on the website, there is, on the main page, there's a link to the Conscious Self-Care course, which literally was just released. It walks people step by step through all of these ideas.
Beautiful.
And the music is there. It's also available on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. You can stream it on Spotify. Links to all of the research is there. We've done several pilot studies. And actually, if anyone's interested, we have a clinical trial approved through Washington University School of Medicine here in St. Louis, Missouri, and using the magic mirror with newly diagnosed cancer patients. And it will be implemented at Siteman Cancer Center once it's funded. So our research is continuing. Beautiful. And the information is on the website there. And I also have an affiliate program that I developed with the Magic Mirror. If anyone is interested in helping to share this music with others, the domain name's music for mental health, music to help you sleep, to reduce anxiety. Those are all areas where people have found success and comfort and peace listening to that particular CD.
Beautiful. So beautiful. Now we're going to have some fun, because we're stepping into second part of the interview, which is known as Expert Fun with Catherine. And I'm going to ask you a few very quick questions. And you have like 10 seconds to answer to me. So are you ready?
No pressure.
Not at all. My audience love this. My guests, here and there, but first one.
Okay.
What do you do when you're free, in your free time?
Oh my goodness, because my days are so full, and it's like every moment is part of the fullness. So in my free time, I watch Netflix. I actually sit down and relax a little bit. Every once in a while I'll take a walk, but honestly, if I have like 10 or 15 minutes, I can just sit down, close my eyes, and exhale. It helps me get out of my doing mode.
Doing what? Yeah, I often hear, because my guests are usually high achievers, and they all say like, "What free time?" What I'm asking
exactly,
and I'm asking that with a purpose. So everyone who is in that, as you said, highway or a channel, following the purpose, we just don't have free time, because we are all creating, always like doing something, or I don't even
Yes.
know where I am and what I'm doing, to be honest.
Yes. Well, because like we're constantly listening. What's the next step? What's the next step? And then you sit down and you have a free moment. You're open and you see that I get up like, oh, I got to go do this.
Exactly, because the moment you sit and when you try to relax, the ideas come,
Exactly.
and then you just need to write it down and work on it because it came. So no free time. What is your favorite book?
The Four Agreements. I love The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. It's a very simple and profound book, and our family used those four agreements, especially when our kids were growing up, and it just helps keep me clear.
Beautiful. I didn't hear about it, so
you'll love it.
I definitely need to check it out. My phone got locked. Anyway, what is your life motto?
My life motto used to be loving life, all of it, which it still is. So it's loving life, all of it, meaning the fullness of who we are. And it's also like compassion grows from within as we lovingly embrace all aspects of ourselves. So it's the same idea of just having compassion for ourselves and all the fullness of who we are. So,
as I said, she is an angel on earth. I don't know what else to say. It's a mic drop.
It depends on who you ask.
I would ask you, please, would you be so kind to play a little bit for us?
Absolutely. Okay, I'll play a little bit of the melodies of the Magic Mirror so you can get a feel for that. And I'm going to preface this by saying whenever I go into the studio, I play whatever is expressing in the moment, and I never play it the same way twice. So this will not be exactly, but it'll give you an idea.
Wow. I closed my eyes in several moments. And if people will feel what I felt, I think we made something very beautiful here together. Thank you so much for being my guest. I truly enjoyed and hope you did too.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for everything that you're doing and creating and sharing in this world, Catherine. It's so important right now.
We have the same mission.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.